Our last presenter is Chad Criswell. He's a 5th grade band teacher at Southeast Polk. He's going to share all the buildings that he teaches at, because I wasn't going to remember that, but he's going to share some ideas that he does in the music classroom. Again, if you are going to bring this back to your colleagues, please, please, please share and network and share things on Twitter if you can. He's actually going to show you a swivel too. I don't know if you can see it, but the swivel is set up right here. So if you do want to see a swivel, you're going to see it in action, but if you want to try it out or have questions, you can ask Chad about it afterwards. So without further ado, here's Chad.
Hello, my name's Chad Criswell. I teach at 4 buildings, which is why I didn't make him try and rattle them off. There's 8 elementary schools in Southeast Polk. I teach 4 of them for 5th grade band: Mitchellville, Centennial, Runnels, and 4 Mile. I'm the guy that travels a lot. Between 2 of the buildings, it's like 20 miles, so I get to drive around a lot. Teach between up to about 145, 150 kids in a year, which for you guys in this room, that's nothing, because I know you're PE and art teachers, so you get hundreds, even more than I do. But I get to be at like 1 building a day, usually. My class periods tend to be like a 20-minute small group lesson with hopefully as little as 2 or 3 kids, and then a 45-minute to a 1-hour long full band rehearsal once a week. So I don't get to see the kids a whole lot. So I do everything that I can to try and maximize the limited class time that I get, just like all of you do. Now, I hope you like my title. It's no, you can't call it a hashtag. That's a no-no in my class, people, all right? At the beginning of the year when I'm teaching these 5th graders, they all come in and we get to sharps. Okay, you got to play that as an F sharp. Oh no, that's an F hashtag. No, you can't call it a hashtag in my class. I'm sorry, guys. All right, we're moving on here. If you want to get in touch with me, that's how you get in touch with me. That's my school email address, my personal email address, and my website. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. Let's just say, well, you've all been teaching for a long time, but this technology stuff, to give you a little bit of background about me, yes, my parents dressed me funny. About 10 years ago, when I taught high school at West Dubuque, I started taking master's degree classes in educational technology and really got into that and started building a website based around music education and technology and that stuff. And last November was the 10-year anniversary of musicedmagic.com. That got me about 9 years ago, got me recognized by NAFME, the National Music Teachers Association, and they hired me to be the columnist for the magazine. So I've been writing technology articles for the magazine ever since 2007. And that's given me a lot of opportunities to talk to a lot of really cool people all over the country and ask them how they're using technology in their classrooms. So you're going to get to hear a little bit today about not only what I use in my classroom, but also what other people are using that I think might be of use to you. So, I mean, that's basically what we're going to talk about. I love this little cartoon. Now, for music teachers, this is very apropos because we've got dozens of different apps out there now that will tell the kid that they played it right or wrong. They're assessment apps. They listen to the kid play, they listen to the kid do whatever, and some of them are more or less accurate, and some of them work really well as an educational tool, and others are pretty much toys, if you ask me. We'll talk about a couple of them today, the ones that are better, that if you aren't using, you really should be. But I wanted to start out with a little cartoon to lighten the mood a bit. Going to talk a little bit at first about video conferencing in the music classroom. This isn't something that I've used a lot of in my own classroom, but it is really starting to take shape in the country and worldwide as a way to really let you expand your classroom beyond the bounds of the 4 walls and let you bring in some stuff not only for your large groups, but also for individual private lessons if you teach those in your school. Going to talk a little bit about video recording in the classroom, give you some tips and pointers for recording things and what you can use and what can't use effectively. And then the last half, at least, is going to be talking about lots of software and apps and stuff that I use in my own classroom and other people use in theirs. So I'm going to get right into video conferencing first. If you are a music teacher and you get Teaching Music magazine, look for this big write-up in the April issue. That's one of the reasons it's foremost in my mind right now. But video conferencing, a lot of general education teachers are using this already to, let's say they're doing a unit on, I don't know, pick your topic, but they'll find an expert somewhere else in the country or somewhere else in the world, and using Skype or some other method, they'll bring that person into the classroom to give a talk to the students to talk about whatever the subject of the lesson is. It's great for getting people into your classroom without having to spend the money on transportation to go on a field trip or whatever. Yeah, we'd love to go on a field trip to Europe to go and see, you know, the Mozarteum. I forget what town that's in, Mozart's birthplace, but it's not going to happen for most of us, all right? So with the video conferencing, we can expand what we're teaching in the class, and we can kind of grab the interest of those kids a little bit more than if it was just you or me standing up in front lecturing. Now, for private lessons, actually, I put these in reverse order. I'm going to come back to that one, and we're going to talk about this one first here, okay? If you're interested in connecting your classroom, large group classroom, to somebody else in the world to talk about any topic that you want to, could be an art topic, could be a PE topic, could be a music topic, whatever. Here's a couple of websites that you can use to try and help you connect with those other individuals. Now, in a lot of cases, you may already have your own personal contacts where you've already, you know, you've met a person at a conference, or you've read about a person in a magazine or something like that. So you just go and contact them, and you try to set something up via Skype or whatever, and that works. If you don't have any of those resources, these are just a few of the ideas for places that you can go to search for other like-minded teachers where you can kind of work them into your curriculum somehow. Now, unfortunately, in terms of music, this one that I've got the picture of up there, they only have 3 people right now on ePals there that actually have music listed as one of their topic areas. But you know, if more people use it, it'll get more useful for everyone. So take a look at those. Now that's the large scale classroom size thing. But where it's really getting important for music teachers right now, especially at the secondary levels, instrumental music, choir, those kind of things, is for private lessons. Now, I grew up in southern Iowa. I grew up in Corydon, which is down on the southern border, straight south of Des Moines. And it's a 1A school district. Nothing within 30 miles of the town, you know, that is of any substance. The nearest community college is over in Centerville, 30 miles away. And when I was growing up, I was going to be a musician, but I really had nobody around that knew my instrument. And if you're going to be a musician, if you're trying to really teach music education, you want your kids to be taking private lessons, if possible, from someone that actually knows the instrument. My band director, bless her, was an oboe teacher, all right? Was an oboist, pardon me. Oboe to trombone doesn't work, all right? So I had to drive 30 miles to another town in order to take private lessons. With video conferencing these days, if you've got students that you want to get them in private lessons, hook them up through LessonFace or TakeLessons.com, or just with your, you know, contact another college in the area and see if they have any teachers there that would be willing to give private lessons online over Skype to your students. It's a wonderful opportunity for them to actually get direct, positive, useful feedback without having to drive tons of miles and spend lots of money on gas. They just have to pay for the lesson. And this is also, by the way, teachers, I'll just throw this out as a side thing. If you consider yourself a professional on an instrument and you want to give lessons, this is an excellent little extra way to bring in a little bit of income for you, all right? But consider it, because I think this is really where a lot of, especially the small schools that live in distant rural areas, are going to start looking at this and thinking that, hey, well, I've got this awesome trumpet player here. I can't teach trumpet. I'm going to hook him up, and we're going to see if we can get him some private lessons this way. On the bottom there, just to tell you about getaccepted.com is something that's new that NAFME is using now, and a bunch of other organizations, colleges are using for auditions, for college placement auditions, for scholarship auditions, those kind of things, to see if they will let the student come to the university. Instead of making the student go back, I mean, granted, most students will go to a college at least once physically to visit it before they go there, but then they don't have to come back another time and drive halfway across the country in order to take an audition for their instrument if they're going to try and get a scholarship or whatever. So Get Accepted is another one that's also a possibility for individuals to use as well. Okay, moving on here. I forgot to mention on the video conferencing and music, you see the Cleveland Institute of Music down at the bottom. I mentioned them because they have an entire series of programs that you can contact them, and they will, like they have one called Mozart Music. Okay, Mozart Music, Mozart Math. Mozart Math, where they integrate somehow, I haven't actually seen it, but I've heard about it, and it's apparently pretty good. They integrate math concepts in with Mozart's music. So it's a great little cross-curricular thing. So don't be afraid to explore this stuff if you're wanting to expand your classroom offerings a little bit and get away from just rehearsing day in and day out. Think about doing these. Really quick about conferencing software. Skype is free, but it is not the end-all be-all of video conferencing software. It sucks for music, okay? I'm sorry, it does. Skype is built to be as lean as possible because of bandwidth issues between different people. They don't want to take up a whole lot of space in the pipes, okay? So Skype uses codecs that really compress the heck out of the audio. So while it may sound great for us just talking, for using music over Skype, it sounds horrible in most cases. It sounds grainy, it sounds, distorted because they're compressing it and stripping out absolutely everything that they think they can strip out. They don't realize that they're listening to music versus listening to the spoken word. So if you have that problem and you still want to do it, consider using something like zoom.us. That's what we're using here for this, I understand. And when I did the research on this stuff, every single professional that's using video conferencing said that Zoom is infinitely better as far as audio quality than Skype is. And it's free. If you're only doing 40-minute long sessions, you can use zoom.us for free just like you can Skype. So take a look at it. Adobe Connect is not free. You get the free trial if you want to. Polycoms are the pinnacle of video conferencing, and before you think that you can't use Polycom systems, check with your school, because I realized the other day when I was over at my district office, they have a Polycom system sitting on the conference table. I guarantee you that chances are most school districts may have at least one of these Polycom systems if they do any kind of conferencing online. It's just a piece of hardware, and they have to have a really good bandwidth connection. But those systems are the ones that will give you the highest quality of audio if you are going to do these kind of things. Okay, a couple of little tips and tricks just to close this section out. If you're going to start using video conferencing as a way to help teach classes and to help bring people in, stick around and watch, okay? This is particularly important if they're doing the private lessons at school. Now, if they're taking the private lessons at home on their own computer, there's not much you can do about it. But if you are sticking them in a practice room and letting them take a private lesson with a teacher at a college someplace, stick around and watch, especially with the younger kids, okay? Because number one, it's just, you need to be wary, all right? You're bringing someone into the classroom. Granted, they can't reach out and touch the kid, but you need to at least know what the heck is going on. But it's also a thing of, consider it an opportunity for you as a teacher to learn a little bit more about that instrument and how to teach that instrument. So that down the road, if you're in the rehearsal, you've got a kid that's sitting there trying to play their oboe. You don't know how to play the oboe, but then you see him doing something wrong that you know that teacher said not to do. So then you can reinforce and you can talk to the student about it. So consider sticking around for a few lessons, if for no other reason, to make sure that the kid knows how to operate the computer and the Skype or whatever you're using. The other thing is, don't use it for beginners. I would never use it for fifth graders when I'm starting them, because there's too many physical things that you really need to just be there and have hands-on in order to teach them at first. Embouchure problems and fingering problems, posture, all that kind of stuff. Now they can talk about that over the internet, but sometimes it's like, no, just do this. So you kind of have to have hands-on. Okay, now let's move on to the next little part here as far as what do I actually use in my classes on a daily basis. All right, now this is my little miniature list here of stuff that pretty much at least once a week, if not once every day, I will use these to help me teach. The one way up at the top there is a smartboard. Now I'm going to go on here to the next little thing here. How many of you have smartboards or Prometheans or that kind of stuff, right? Okay, now, by the way, how many music teachers? Just curious. Yay, the three, the proud here. All right. Now, depending on the grade level, I think smartboards and those kind of things are very appropriate. For my age level with fifth graders, they're awesome. At the high school level, maybe not quite so necessary. But what I want you to see here is this is a smartboard, and I've got a program running on it called SmartMusic. And as you can see, I can put up any kind of music on that screen that I want to, and it will then let the kid, I can say, okay, John, come up, mark the beats. And that's what they're doing here. They've got the red marker pen, and they're marking where the beats lie in the music. You can do that in small groups during your private lessons. You can do that in large groups with the whole band. You can put stuff up on there with SmartMusic. The other thing I love about SmartMusic is that 75% of the music that we use in our classroom for our rehearsals and such is in SmartMusic. So if I'm like, flutes, you're having a problem with this section, I can quickly call up the flute part in SmartMusic, put it up on the wall like that, and I can circle stuff and mark stuff if need be. So it's a great visual reference tool. Where, yes, I know you could use the same thing with an overhead and putting the papers down there. But this is, to me, this is a whole lot better because you can also hit a button and it starts to play the music for them so that they can hear it in real time. I can't say enough about SmartMusic. Some people complain about it because it's expensive. It's the best investment you will make. I'm sorry, guys, it is. If you are needing to assess your students and have records of them playing and how they play, having that, you send the kid into the practice room with a laptop, you have them play their tests, their playing tests into SmartMusic, and you've got that audio record, and you don't have to do anything about it because they log in with their own username and password, and it just saves this stuff out. It's awesome. Use it, please. The other thing the next thing on the list that I use every day is using photos and videos to not only record rehearsals, but also to, well, lots of stuff. I'll give you an example here, all right? Student assessments here. Let's say I've got a beginner. I'm teaching them how to play the clarinet or play the flute. Okay, we'll say the flute. And one of the things on the flute is you need to have it straight out. You need to have the head up. You don't want to be doing this. All right, you need to have good posture, all this kind of stuff. But when a student, especially a beginning student, is trying to get that stuff going, they've got so many things going through their head, and they're going like, because they're having problems with the fingerings. So I pull out my phone, and I'll snap a picture of them, or I'll snap a short video of them trying to play something, and then we'll turn it right around to them and immediate feedback to them and show it to them and say, look at that. That's what we're having the problems with right there. You see your lips, you didn't have the lip in the right place. You see that? You didn't have your fingers on the thumb key. Whatever. So if you aren't already doing this, do it, okay? It used to be that my teachers when I was in college would say, get a mirror and have a mirror on every single stand in the room, okay? So that the kids could look at it. Okay, fine, we don't need mirrors anymore. You got a mirror in your pocket, it's called your phone. So you can do it that way too. Teacher self-evaluation is another thing. We mentioned that we've got the swivel up here. I'm not going to go into depth on this because it's already been talked about by both of the previous presenters. But if you want to evaluate your own teaching, the best way to do it is to have something like that where it follows you around the room and you can hear what you're really doing and what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. You see, I'm walking around and it's turning and following me everywhere. And you can't tell because you can't hear it, but this microphone in here is excellent. I mean, it's not excellent, but it's good enough in that no matter where I am in the room, it's picking it up full volume. It puts it onto the recording. So I've done a recording of this where I've had that on the opposite end of the room and I'm over here talking and it sounds like I'm right next to the microphone because I am, because it's around my neck. So if you ever want to use a swivel, great, especially if you were one of the people like me that likes to get up and move around. Now let's talk about some recording tools that you might find interesting. I used to be really big on dedicated digital audio recorders. This is the Zoom H4n, H4 Next is what it's called really. And this is, to me, this is like the pinnacle of all portable devices. It's about the size of a large iPhone, and it's got really good, high-quality microphones built into it, okay? Now, but that's not the reason that I like it so much. The reason I like it is because down here on the other end, we've got XLR ports. So you can, it's called the H4n because there are 4 channels on it. You can plug in additional microphones here, and it will record in 4-channel audio onto an SD card that you can then take that SD card out, put it onto your computer. You can edit it in whatever digital audio workstation software that you want to use it in. So if you've got, if you're wanting to record 2 separate individuals, instead of having one microphone in the middle of them, you can mic each one and then you can change the levels. You can make this person a little bit louder, make this person a little bit softer. You can play around with it. Now, that's a little bit beyond what most of us would use in the classroom, but it's a nice little feature to have. Okay, so if you need a dedicated unit, get one that's got a really good high-quality microphone built into it, but also has the ability to plug in your own good microphones through external ports. Now, if you don't want to go that route, because those, like the H4n is, I can't remember how much it is now, 300, 400 bucks, something like that maybe. These are a lot cheaper. These are external mics for your phone, and they work excellent as well. The problem with phones is, for musicians, yeah, they have a microphone, but it's not a very good one, okay? Most of the distortion that you hear in YouTube videos when somebody's playing music is because the microphone cannot handle the frequencies that we deal with musical instruments or with the voice when we're singing. External mics like this that you just plug into your phone bring much more high quality audio into the system. So you aren't going to get the distortion, you aren't going to get the tinniness. I mean, a bad microphone can make anybody sound bad. A great example, I was watching it the other day, there was a video of the United States Marine Corps Drum and Bugle Corps doing a performance, and it looked like it was professionally done, but you could tell that the microphone was junk. It sounded like a cell phone microphone because it was so brassy and icky. Yeah, okay, it's a brass band, fine, but it sounded bad. The microphone makes a difference. If you are making recordings of your students for auditions or chair placements, that kind of stuff, where the sound really does matter, make sure you got a good microphone. You can still record it with your phone, but get something like this so that you get a better sound out of it. If you really want to go whole hog on this, you can get something like this, where it's an add-on unit, the Fostex AR101. Never used it, but I think it just looks cool, all right? It's got the dual microphones up on the top. It plugs into your phone's port, and you carry it around like that, or you put it on a tripod and it stays there. Really high-end audio, high-end video. They even have units that looked like, I didn't get into this part, but it looks like they even have units that have an add-on lens that you put over the top of your cell phone lens that will make it more wide angle and make it look better. So keep those things in mind. Audio in our business as music teachers, audio matters. It doesn't matter so much to everybody else in the world, but to us it does. And we talked about the swivel. I'm not going to talk any more about that. If you want to check it out afterwards, I'll leave it out here for a few minutes. Like I said, works really good. Okay, moving into some software products. There is a company called themusicinteractive.com that provides a bunch of free and low-cost pieces of music software that operate both on Macs and on PCs that I use all the time in my classrooms, especially the one in the top left corner that I'm going to show you here in just a second. There are other ones as well, though, that you can use that they have. Their Rhythm Math is that one there, and then the one down at the bottom is it plays a song, or it plays a rhythm, and then they have to drag the blocks into position so that they can prove that they know what they're hearing as far as rhythms go. But the one that I like to use is Staff Wars 2. There is some audio on this. I don't know if it's, there it goes. These are some flute players. Low, slow down the air. Slow air. Game over, they lost, okay? But it's the Staff Wars 2 program is on PC and Mac. It works. It's not as good as it used to be because as the software that we have on our computers on Windows and on the Macs has changed, the developer has had to change it as well, and he hasn't been quite as fast to update it because he's been working on something else, which is the Staff Wars iPad and Android apps. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to swipe the swivel. And I'm going to show you a little bit here, I hope.
Does this work with recorders?
What?
Staff Wars? Could you have fourth grade?
Yes, I'll show you here. Yes, it does. All right, so here's my iPad. And I'm going to go in here to Staff Wars Live. And, all right, you were asking, does it work with whatever? Yes, it does. Here's your whole list. We've got all the normal common concert band instruments, plus ukulele, recorder, vibraphone, all of them, bass guitar, everything. Alto, am I doing that? Or is that, I'm hearing feedback. Okay. Let me turn this down. There, okay. Oh, that's right. It has that background noise behind it. I forgot about that. Ignore, okay. Save it, and then I go in here. Darn it, I meant to go out to my car and bring in my trumpet or something. But what happens is the note comes floating across the screen, and if they play the right note, then it explodes. Now, sometimes I can get this to go like, oh, see, okay, it explodes. Okay, I can't do it now. But there you go. You see, this is the only problem with it is that sometimes if you're talking, it blows up because of the frequencies of your voice. But if you're quiet and they're just playing it on their own, then it works really well. So that is Staff Wars Live. Now there is another version of it called just plain old Staff Wars that is solely, okay, I don't want to do Game Center. Come on. Get out of there. Staff Wars is the same idea, only on this one, if you're teaching general music classes and you're trying to get the kids to be able to recognize the note names, same idea, only here, you're just naming the notes. Okay? So, and then like F. Did I mess something up, or are you not getting the audio from it anymore? Okay, I'm sorry. It does have audio. It has a little explosion sounds and everything, and there's this cool musical soundtrack behind it that every 10 that they get right, the soundtrack gets a little bit faster, a little bit more intense, and then they're going all the way through. It's fun. It's fun to watch them. Oh, there it was. There it goes. It was starting there. So that is the Staff Wars programs. I tell you what, rather than me going back to my PowerPoint, I'm just going to stick with this, and I'm going to show you some of the other ones here really quick. Another one that I use on a daily basis in my classroom is the Tonal Energy Tuner. Tonal Energy Tuner is, in my opinion, the best tuning program for instruments, for multiple instruments that's on the market. You can see that, okay, I'm going to have to sing again, guys. I'm sorry. All right. Now I'm going to turn it sideways here so you can see the big version. Where is it at? Tuner. Your goal is to get it to have that green dot in the middle. So if they're playing their instrument, if they see the line up at the top or at the bottom, they know they have to lip it up, lip it down, adjust their embouchure, however, in order to get it in tune. But with the tone generator here, if I want to tune in a different way, I can just push a button. And it'll start playing that tone for me, and I can change it by octaves and all that kind of stuff. The nice thing on here is the analysis mode. Okay, I'm going to try and do this. Okay, I'm not going to take the time. If a student is playing a note, you see that up here at the top, we've got a little yellow line that's moving up and down, right? That is the note that it thinks you are playing right then. So if you're trying to impress on a kid the idea of, like with the brass, trying to get them to play the higher partials or the lower partials on their brass instruments, they can actually see that note physically or visually moving up and down. So it's not just an ear thing, then you can also connect it to a visual thing as well. All right, so I can't express enough how good this app is. Yes, it's a paid app. I think it's maybe $10. I can't remember how much it is now. Down here at the bottom, on the bottom half, I'm not going to try and demo this because it's going to be a horrible attempt. But you see the yellow line, it's going up and down because I'm talking and my voice is changing a lot. But if you were playing a solid, steady tone, then that little yellow line tracks down the middle and shows you how close you are to being perfectly in tune. So if the kid's intonation is going up subtly or down a little bit, it tracks the pitch. Okay, moving on. So that's Tonal Energy Tuner, love it. There are tons of different metronome apps. I love this one personally. It just is called the Pro Metronome, and it's freezing. And what's going on? Okay. All right, well then look at my iPad screen. All right, maybe it'll catch up here. There it goes, finally. All right, so this is my Pro Metronome app. Yes?
Maybe this is a question for you guys. How are you doing this where you can see his computer and then all of a sudden you can see his iPad? I want to do that. How do you do that?
I'll show you that in just a second. All right. It's not in the list, but I should have known that somebody would want to know here. All right. So this is, let me just finish off on this. This is the Pro Metronome. Yes, you can have your own physical metronome, but who needs them anymore? You got a metronome in your pocket on your phone or on your iPad. You can change the speed by twirling the dial. It's also got the thing down here at the bottom, which I use with the kids a lot when we're trying to talk about steady beat and staying at the same speed. If I tap a beat here, it tells me how fast I'm going. We have a little competition in band, how fast can you play your scale? So if they're playing their scale, then they're going 205 beats per minute. If they can't go that fast, they're only going 124 beats per minute, and we have a leaderboard on the wall to see who can play it the fastest. It's kind of fun. Let's talk about Engenius. All right, we already talked about Staff Wars. I love Engenius, okay? Okay.
Engenius!
Now, all right, this is, shoot, I got names on there and I forgot. I better turn it off, sorry. I'll tell you about it. I forgot that I had names in it already. Engenius is like Staff Wars, only it records the individual scores for the kids. It's not one where you play your instrument, but it's one where they're typing in, okay, that's an A, that's a B, that's a C, that's a D. But it also has a mode where it shows the instrument fingerings. So if you're trying to teach a kid how to play their trumpet and you want them to know that an E is 1 and 2, then in Engenius, it'll put the E on the screen, and then underneath it, it'll have 3 different fingerings for them to choose from, and they just touch the one that's correct. Okay, but it has a leaderboard on it where it tracks the kids' names and shows who's doing the best, who's got the highest score, and it gives them belts like, you know, black belt, brown belt, orange belt, just like in a karate class. It's a whole lot of fun. The kids love playing it, especially at the beginning of the year for my 5th graders, but it would also be great for elementary general music classes as well. Let's talk a little bit about Notate Me. Okay, Notate Me Now and Notate Me are, okay, this one's kind of hard to explain, but I'll do my best. There are ways for you to draw in music. Let me just make a new one here. Hang on, new score, and I'll make it be a flute part.
What is this called?
This is called Notate Me Now. All right, now it works better if you have a stylus. I'm going to use my finger, and it's probably not going to be very good. But if I draw in the quarter note, boop, it goes up there on the top as a quarter note. I can also sometimes just do a single line like that. You see it's doing it. If I put a line between them, it turns them into an 8th note. It's great for having students, if you're trying to teach them how to write music, this is a great way to do it, because if they don't draw it halfway decent, it's not going to do it right. It's not going to put it up on the top. So, you know, if you've ever taught music and you have kids, you give them a piece of staff paper and they make dots that cover 3 lines because they make them too big. If you use this, they can't do it that way because it's not going to work. They've got to be precise in what they draw on it. The other thing that I love about Notate Me Now is that it has a scanning function on it. I intended to bring up a piece of music and then I forgot to bring it up, but I'm going to use this little Photo Score Now app. And if I had a piece of music here, I would hold that over the top of the piece of music, get it centered, hit the little take a picture button, and it will scan in the entire page of music. And in my experience, it is excellent in terms of accuracy for scanning in music. Now the Notate Me Now app is free, and with that you can do like 1 page at a time. The problem with it is for the free version, it only lets you send it in certain ways. You have to like export it as a music XML file, which you can then import into Sibelius, Finale, MuseScore, whatever your music notation editor of choice is. But it makes it a whole lot easier to fix parts. Like let's say I've got a part where there's one where my kids they can't play that high. For some reason, the composer thought that high Ds for a beginning 5th grader would be okay. All right, I don't know. So I'll take the picture, I'll scan it into Finale that way. Then I'll just change the notes on it, print it right back out, and we're done. It's great. My problem with the Notate Me and Notate Me Now apps is the Notate Me Now is free. Notate Me is $15. Okay, I think it's $15. It's a paid app. All right. But the thing about Notate Me Now is Notate Me Now will scan 1 page for you for free, no problem, and you can do that as many times as you want to. Notate Me won't let you scan it all unless you pay an additional fee, but then when you pay the additional fee, then you can scan as many pages as you want at once. So it's kind of a weird mixed up payment system on it, but it is excellent. I can't recommend it enough. If you need to scan in music, it's a whole lot easier than typing it in 1 note at a time in a music notation editor. What else have I got on here? Let's talk about, okay, to get to your question about what am I using on here, all right? First of all, I'm going to show you this. I don't know, I don't think it's going to work for me right now, but this is Splashtop. Let's say that you don't have a, hey, what do you know? I could get to my computer at home right now if I wanted to, all right? Splashtop is something that if you don't have an interactive whiteboard at home or at school, if you don't have a smart board or a Promethean board or whatever, I have used Splashtop as an alternative, okay? I can use this. It connects to my home PC. I'm not going to connect right now because who knows what the kids were doing the last time they were on it, all right? But it brings the computer screen up on the screen, and you can interact with it. You can drag stuff around like you had a mouse. You can push a button and it brings up a keyboard so you can type stuff into it. So you can control a computer remotely using Splashtop. If I don't have an interactive whiteboard, then I do this. I pull up my computer laptop screen and I walk over to a student and I hand him this and say, okay, drag the quarter note to the right place, and it comes up on the big screen here. Now, depending on what apps you're using, you can do that the same way with this mirroring program that I'm using right now. But if you're wanting to do more advanced stuff, Splashtop is a excellent alternative to a whiteboard if you need something that's portable that you can just pass around the room. So to answer your question about what am I using to get the stuff up here on the screen, this is called Mirroring 360. It is also from Splashtop. So Mirroring 360, and there's a bunch of different ways to do this, but this is the one that I like the best and that I think has been the most economical and easiest to use for me. There's other ones called Reflector. I can't remember what the other ones are called, but basically it lets you turn your iPad, iPhone, I believe it also works, I don't know if it works with Android or not, I bet it does though. And if you look down here at the bottom, when I swipe up on my control panel here, it gives me AirDrop and then it gives me the little AirPlay icon. And from there, I just decide who I want to go to. Now, if I really wanted to be mean, I could go over here and I could put myself on David's MacBook Pro. David, are you in here? Oh, that's you. Okay, so I could do it if I wanted to here. I could send it over to him and it would show up on his screen. Some of these apps, I can't remember if Mirroring 360 does it or not, but some of these apps will do multiple iPads, multiple things at the same time. So you can have like 4 different iPad screens on here at once, tiled. So you could have like 4 iPads floating around the room, and you could see what each one of them were doing the entire time because it would be mirrored on your screen. So that is that. Is there anything else on here that I haven't talked about? I guess I should talk briefly about SmartMusic for the people that have never used it before or that don't know anything about it. Like I said, I use this all the time. They have an iPad app. And yes, thankfully, for those of us that live in Chromebook school districts, supposedly for the next school year, SmartMusic will be available on Chromebooks because it is going to be a completely web-based app for once. Now you can see here that right now it's almost logged in as one of my students. Okay, I'm going to change it really quick. How much time have I got left? Okay, I'm going to change it really quick to me. And I'm going to log myself in here. Oh, you can see that, can't you? Oh, well, whatever. All right. So now down here at the bottom is my library. I can choose from all the different songs that I've got in there. Let's say that I wanted to work on Band Room Boogie. I pull up Band Room Boogie, and it'll take a little bit because for some reason it doesn't like to store the music on the iPad. It like downloads it each time. But I can put this up and it'll bring the kids' music on the screen. They can play along with it. It will listen to them and it marks them with red dots and green dots if they play it right or wrong. So here's Band Room Boogie. If I hit the little play button here at the top, it's going to give 4 little clicks. Now, it doesn't work good in this environment, but if it's just by itself and it's not mirroring to a computer, it does very well, all right? And if I was playing along with it, it would have marked it with green dots over the top of the notes if I played it right, red dots if I played it wrong, or it would leave them black if for some reason I didn't play it or if it couldn't figure out what I was playing, it leaves it as black dots. It lets you listen back to what they just played so they can immediately self-assess themselves, not only visually, but also by listening. So, I don't think I played that way. Well, yeah, press the listen button, and you can hear it back, and you can see exactly what they were doing. To prove it to them, we can select from all the different instruments in the band here. We can pull up any of their parts on here. And if they are logged in as themselves, as a student, then after they play through their assignment, They can submit it to me. It goes into my grade book. I click a button and I can listen to their audio recording later on. I can give them a grade, or the computer can give them a grade, a percentage grade based on how many notes they got right or wrong. So it's awesome. If you aren't using SmartMusic, please consider it. There is, let me turn this off for a minute here. There is another version. I'll talk about him in just a second, called Practice First. It's a new product out, and some school districts are now using a system called Music First, which is a collection of apps that you pay for on a per-student basis each year. I think Practice First is like, I thought they said like $6 per student per year, but it's like SmartMusic, and in some ways I like it a whole lot better because, as you can see, it gives some kind of interesting feedback. Instead of doing red dots, green dots, it shows underneath. You can kind of see by the waveform where the beats are. Did the kid play it exactly on time? Did he play it in the wrong place? Did he play the right note? Did he play the wrong note? There's things that I like about it. I just haven't been able to justify doing the subscription for all of my students on it, whereas with SmartMusic, I can buy the one teacher subscription and then have each student create their own account, and then as long as they're at school, they can use my iPad where I've got it pinned onto the iPad, and they can take their tests that way. They can take them at home if they wanted to, but they have to pay $35 a year if they want to be able to use SmartMusic at home. Other ones here, just really quick to talk about. I don't actually use these, so I'm just going to run through them really quick. BandInABox, if you're doing warm-ups, or if you're doing jazz stuff, BandInABox is almost a no-brainer. It lets you put in chord progressions. So if you want to have some nice, interesting music to play along behind them as they're playing their scales or playing arpeggios and etudes and that kind of stuff, BandInABox is basically an accompaniment system. Works really well, been around for a long time. Improviser, if you teach high school, if you teach jazz, this is excellent. It is a free program that lets you help your kids be able to learn to improvise jazz. Basically, you type in the chord progressions just like you did in BandInABox there, and then it will either create a random kind of improvised melody for the kids to try and play, or it will create, or it will let the student write their own, and it actually gives them red notes, green notes to tell them red dot if the note that they're picking is not in the chord, then it's going to give you a red dot. If it is in the chord, it's going to give you a green dot. If it's a passing tone, it's going to give you, I think, a yellow dot. I can't remember what all of them is, because I don't get to use this because I teach fifth graders. We don't improvise yet. So another one, this was one that my high school teachers at Southeast Polk swear by. They use it all the time, Sight Reading Factory. It's a subscription service, but you can try it out with a demo. That's why you see the little subscribe now button there at the top. But what it does is it creates randomized sight reading exercises that the kids have to play through if they're trying to get them to be better at sight reading.
Travelling by train,
okay,
sitting in a park,
Notate Me now.
or just relaxing on the sofa. Notate Me is so intuitive and easy to use that even complex notations, such as cross-staff.
All right, we'll turn that off. Last one here on my list is Fourscore. I thought I had it on here. Fourscore, going to have to bring it back up. I love Fourscore. I use it all the time because in this iPad, I carry all of the music that I am doing right now in class, so I don't have to carry around the individual scores. I also have the individual parts for the kids, so that if I am trying to do something here, let's say the tuba part, and I don't have access to it on the computer for a minute, I can just bring this up, and then I can bring down my annotation stuff, and I can highlight things, I can draw in circles, I can have them circle stuff, I can have them draw on the paper, and then erase it right back off and hand it to the next kid. So that's Fourscore. There are a bunch of different score reading apps like that you can use, but Fourscore is my favorite. And I think that's, I've already talked about Tonal Energy Tuner. That's about it. If you are an ensemble type person, especially at the secondary level, I do need to mention these two. WhatsApp is one that our high school uses constantly, especially for their parent groups. If you have a booster organization that you have to work with that is trying to organize large-scale events for you, WhatsApp and other applications like WhatsApp are excellent for getting the word out to multiple people. And then Charm's Office Assistant is also another one. It has communication features built into it, but if you need a way to easily organize your uniform database and your music library and everything else and keep it all in one place, Charm's Office Assistant is another excellent tool. All right, if that stuff is interesting to you, feel free to go over to musicedmagic.com, or if you are really adventurous, check out my little YouTube channel, Music Ed Magic on YouTube. I've been doing podcasting on there since like last October, I don't know, something like that. Putting stuff up on there as soon as I get it, or as soon as it's as soon as I have time to do it. Thank you for coming. This is obviously kind of a reused slide here, but if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. In music, if we keep, we have to go with the flow. If we don't advance, if we don't change the way we're doing it, then we can't really grab the kids' attention anymore. We've got to do this. So thank you. Hope it was interesting and useful. If you have any questions, send me an email and I'll get back to you. Thanks.
Are there any questions? Okay. Zoom? Nope.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Chad.
You bet.
And thank you to all of you for attending today. Our next TIC session is grades 3 through 5, and it's just general tech integration in those grade levels. That is on March 31st, same time, same place. And we also have a session in April. This is on the 26th of April. It's our K-12 Other, which includes IT, Ag, FCS, business. We'd welcome any presenters to apply to present for that session. So if you know someone at your buildings, please have them apply. If you don't know where to go with that, I sent out a mass email yesterday with the application. That presenter form is there. Other than that, if you have questions or you'd like to network or you'd like to check out the makerspace or you want to talk to an instructional tech consultant, whatever it may be, you're free to do that, and have a great day and drive safely. Also, one last thing. Sorry, caught your eye. If you do want to connect this afternoon, if you are available, we have City PLN, which is actually an opportunity to connect with educators throughout Heartland. Do you want to talk about some of the agenda or? Okay. Anyway, if you'd like to attend that this afternoon, we're going to talk about Bright Bites. We're going to have some district spotlights, and you can connect with other educators who are working on tech integration in their buildings. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.